So when students are ready for supervision at ACAP, how are the classes actually structured?
Okay, so the students in doing the supervision unit are very fortunate to have real practicing counsellors acting as their supervisors. So those supervisors are able, as I said in the first recording, to help them debrief, to help them expand their viewpoints, to give them different methods of working, to debrief, to talk about ethical issues, and all those sorts of things. But with the added advantage of having peers doing the same things. So they are able to even get a broader perspective based on what other students bring. They are able to get different ideas of why people like different modalities. So it's just a very, it just offers supervision in a much broader sense, which is also helpful. One of the things they are also going to be doing in their supervision is case conceptualization and case formulation. There's a huge focus upon that. And I think we're going to be talking about it in more detail in another recording, but just very quickly, it's about thinking and working through how they conceive of a particular case study and then how they plan to go forward and work with that case.
Okay, so we'll go into that in more detail in the next recording. At this stage, I want to talk a little bit about what students do in relation to the blogs. So each of the class spaces has a blog where students will give reflections on the agency that they're working with. So that will be what they've learnt about the placement, the history of it, who the staff are, what the personalities are and how they work together, the client profiles, etc. Then there's a separate blog where students fill in completely de-identified notes about the clients who they're working with. And then after each supervision session, which in the first supervision unit is fortnightly, in the second supervision unit it's weekly, after the supervision sessions, they'll do a reflective blog on what they learned, what they discuss, and how their professional practice is developing across the term.
Can I very quickly say something there? Because you mentioned a very important word, which supervision is about. It's about reflecting upon their work. And I think the expectation is not that they know everything, but that they are able to look very openly and flexibly at what they've done and how they can make it better. And that's the essence of supervision, from being a novice supervisor to being somebody highly experienced.
Yeah, and what we're looking to see across the term is the development of that awareness. If someone comes into supervision and they go, oh yes, I know about counselling, I'm good at this, I've done really well in my assessments, that makes us kind of nervous, because what we want is students to come and say, this is really exciting, but I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet, and I want to talk about some of those fears and some of the excitement about working with real clients. So what we ask for in the blogs is that development is documented over the course of the term, so that when students get to the end of the term, they have this data set of all of those blog entries, and that's what they use to write their final reflective piece. So they've done a huge amount of research over the course of the term by thinking back on, what did I do well? What did my supervisor say? Hey, what about this way of trying that approach? What did I learn about myself over those weeks? So that's some overview of the blogs and the assessments. And in the next recording, let's go into more detail about case conceptualization.
Sure.
Okay, see you shortly.